Hello and welcome to another episode of the Everyday Legends podcast. And today, I'm your host, by the way. I'm always Mike Campbell, but today I'm also Mike Campbell. And today I'm pumped to bring you um, a, 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 a really important set of questions, and an invitation for you to take this away and actually think about this, reflect on this, and bring it into your life. If you've been around here for a while, welcome back. Massively appreciate your listenership. Yeah. If you're new, hey, stick around and dive into this shit. But you'll also know, if you've been here before, that I am not about creating content for guys to just tick a box. Cool, I listened to that thing, and be in a constant state of mental masturbation. Information is great, but if you don't do anything with it, it's fucking useless. I want you to take tangible information away and turn it into actions in your life. And this is what this episode is about. We're going to dive straight into it with this simple but very important and sometimes very challenging question. I see a lot of men in a very kind of simple overview, broad overview. I see a lot of men recognizing something isn't working. Often I really come into contact with many men where the primary reason that's got them here is because something really fucking has to give. It might not be, quote, rock bottom. I'm waking up under a bridge covered in my own piss, shit, and vomit, but I've reached some sort of breaking point. Something needs to give, something has to happen. And often what accompanies that is this set of circumstances and results in my life can no longer happen. And so what motivates us to take action is, I don't want this anymore. We might have some semblance of an idea of what we do want, but often we haven't connected to that. Often for a lot of guys, we don't even allow ourselves to entertain it because we don't believe that we get to have a great life, that we deserve love and belonging and joy and happiness and all these things. So what gets us starting to look at some kind of a change is, I don't want this shit anymore. We might start to understand a bit of what I do want. So that's a very simple piece for you. What are the results, the outcomes, situations in your life that you no longer want, that you no longer value, that no longer work for you, that no longer serve you? List that shit down. Don't be afraid of what comes up. What do you want? What results in your life do you want? Now, that might be many things, and it might be very vague. I want to have a house. I want to have this job. I want to have a partner, whatever it is. But also, where some men might get to is a one or maybe a list of, let's say, characteristics and traits that they want. I want to feel more confident. I want to feel more secure in myself. I want to be grounded. I want to be more at peace with myself. I want to feel comfortable in my skin. Now, there might be many things, but I've spoken to, by the way, if that resonates with you, a pretty fucking common list of foundational pieces. Now, admittedly, a lot of men don't necessarily connect to that yet. It's what they deeply need and want, but they haven't necessarily connected to that. It might sound like confidence. It might sound like I want to have more time. It might sound like I want to feel like I've got more purpose. I currently feel lost and a bit stuck. I want to have more direction, right? I feel unclear, so I want to be clearer, those kind of things. Here's my invitation to you today. And that is to actually sit down, brainstorm, not some perfect list, but just brainstorm down. What do you want to embody? Do you want to embody strength? Do you want to embody patience? Do you want to embody honesty, respect? Do you want to embody grounded security? Do you want to embody clarity, decisiveness? Do you want to embody compassion, generous leadership? What do you want to embody? What traits, characteristics, and you might also think potentially values, would you like to embody? Often as men, when we set out on growth or a journey of, achieving something towards success, so vague, but we might go, I want this job, this outcome. And outcomes are great, but outcomes need behaviors. And so if I can embody a trait or a set of behaviors, that takes me somewhere. So that's my first question to you. What do you actually want to embody? Now, with that, what we must look at is, what do you currently embody now? So my invitation to you is to sit down and actually go down and list. What do I embody now? What traits and characteristics do I embody? Do I embody, and by the way, this is full spectrum. Not just things like I embody strength, I embody compassion, I embody consistency, but anything that might be quite positive or negative. I embody flightedness. I embody anxiousness, energy. I embody indecisiveness. I embody kind of, not being dependable. I embody whatever it is. Get that shit down. If it feels unpleasant, you've got to face that shit, because it gives us the clue on what we might want to shift. So those two questions, extremely important. What do I want to embody? What do I embody now? Once you have that list down of what you do embody, my challenge to you is to go out into your life and ask 3 people. This is essentially an exact exercise that we do inside the World of Everyday Legends Academy, and a question that's really at the center of the deeper one-on-one work that I do with the men and the Zeus in a circle. You're going to go out to 3 people in your life, generally speaking, who know you well, or they might not have known you for a long time, but they're very perceptive and insightful, let's say. And you are going to ask them, what do you think, what traits, what characteristics would you say that I embody? Now, 3 people. I suggest going to different areas of your life: friend, work environment, loved one. If you have a partner, definitely ask your partner. And if you don't want to ask your partner, have a think about why that would be, because that's a bit of a flag that is reddish in color. Possibly a parent as well, but 3 minimum, all right? But don't go and ask 30, make it 5 max. And get some feedback from them. But you've got to do that after you've created your own list. You don't get to go out and go, oh, let everyone else tell me first and then I'll write my list. No, sit the fuck down and do your own list. Then you can go and ask people for feedback and look what matches and look what doesn't align. Possibly some work in that. Now, where we take this next, what I do embody, what I want to embody, then here's your bonus questions. Okay, so if I want to embody this, that list, this thing, this thing, this thing, what does it require of me to embody the things on that list? Now, that might be specifically this thing, it requires this thing requires that, this thing requires that. And there might be some broad things. It requires me to deal with my past shit. It requires me to go to therapy. It requires me to have those conversations. It requires me to clear that thing with my mother. It requires me to be courageous and no longer hide behind the mask that I wear. Whatever it is, list that shit. It starts to give you a very simple list of what you need to do. And more importantly, who you need to be. So many men get stuck on what I need to do, what I need to do, what I need to do, and we forget this is actually about who you need to be, how you need to be. What do you want to embody is essentially saying, how would you like to be as a man? What does it require of me? Then here's your second bonus question. Okay, let's start here. Do I have what it takes, the tools, the resources, the courage, let's say, the discipline, the motivation, to execute on those? And you might say yes. I would argue possibly no, because otherwise you'd be there already. It might be yes for some, no for others. So therefore, you get to go to this question. What support do I need? What support do I need? Who do I need to support me in this? To hold me to it? To challenge me to my edges? To remind me of those commitments and desires, perhaps when I'm really struggling with it? To, as I said, challenge me, hold me accountable, keep me honest, and support me in moving towards my edges. And who do I need to model these to me? Because if you want to embody a trait that you don't currently embody, you have to witness it. And I would argue extremely strongly that as a man, you also definitely need to witness those traits in other men. That's not saying exclusively, not at all. You can learn so much from the woman in your life, absolutely. But if you want to embody certain traits as a man, you've got to witness those in other men. You need men to show you what that looks like. And it's not just one. If you have one dude, you might watch me and go, Mike embodies X. I'm just going to learn that from him. No, we need breadth. We need different examples. We have to witness it. And this again speaks to another example of, as men, we cannot do this work alone. We're never doing it alone. What is your idea of strength or compassionate decisiveness or whatever it is? Good. Where have I got that from? Okay. What does that look like? Well, let me fucking see it in some other dudes, a few other dudes, so I get different ideas and I can pick up and take pieces and make them my own. That's our show today. What do you want to embody? Well, what do you embody now? And when it comes to what you want to embody, What does it require of you? What have you got yourself that you can apply yourself to? And where are the gaps? What support do you need to encourage you, to teach you, to show you the way, to hold you accountable, to challenge you to your edges when you're like, I want to embody courage, but I'm fucking terrified of having that conversation? Who's going to keep you honest? Who's going to keep you accountable to that? Let me know how this lands. Let me know how you go with this. Share your lists with me. Find me on social media and let me know. And bring the men into your corner that you can witness those things in and that can support you in becoming those traits. And more importantly, becoming that man. Because one of the things that you're essentially answering here is, this is the man that I want to be. And we also need men who can see that, honor it, celebrate us as we're doing it, and hold us to becoming that man. All right? Go and do it. Go and be it. Until next time.